Hey, in our last project we did a great big cutting board, and we had a lot of leftover parts of white, oak, walnut, and we didn't have the benefit of the great big cabinet shop, so we brought them all back here to the old guy woodwork shop and we built it here. This is just about done and it's ready for some oiling, but let's see how we built this.
So we started by ripping some walnut and some white oak out of our scrap. Then we arranged all the blocks in some kind of pattern and put some white oak around it for a border. Made these strips that were going to be the border around that. And put tape on the counter so that it wouldn't stick to it.
So the glue up here is going to be interesting because I got to do this side and all these sides. Normally I wouldn't have all these blocks, but it was leftover that I had out of a scrap out of another project, and I'm just going to use it. We're going to have to make the best of it. Got to be moving on this one.
So as I was saying earlier, first I have some white oak that are going to be the border around this. I glued this all up, set these pieces all in place, and then I'll actually use the pipe clamp to keep it flush and square on one end. Put a block on the other end and pull that down so this is all even along the edges, so I have all my checkerboards perfectly lined up. This is the outside strip of white oak that I just sandwiched between. Put this block on the other end with a paper towel so it wouldn't stick to the wood itself, and then clamp it all tight. And here it is, all clamped up. So then we let it dry, unclamped it, and I forgot to video where I put the two end pieces on, which I'm removing the clamps from that right now. And here I just trimmed off the ends to make it flush on both sides, and then put the other pieces on the side. And here I'm showing how I wanted to keep my veneers the same, but my head got in the way, and then glued that up and let that dry. This was a lot of glue ups, using a little love with a mallet there to get the tops flush and let it dry. And then when it was dry, I removed it, took it over, cut the ends off to make it flush, all four sides, and just like that, we've got a blank for a butcher block. Remember not to smack the table too hard when your camera's sitting on it. So when you don't have a wide belt sander, you use your CNC, and here I'm making the pockets for the finger holds that go on the bottom. And here I'm using my big surfacing bit to make the bottom all flat. It put some pretty good burn marks in there, and I just had to sand those out, which took a little bit of time. And then this is what you do also, you fold sandpaper over and you sand it the old-fashioned way, and then you use a 1/2 inch bit to clear out the pocket and surface the inside of the cutting board. And you use the same bit to make the profile all the way around, round off those corners. So like I did in my last cutting board video, you have to seal all the voids with 2-part resin. Then you use your fancy 1-inch cove bit to cut a pocket all the way around. And seal some more voids. And then you sand it by hand, and you realize that this is going to take way too long, although it was working. And then you find a bit that fits your Dremel. It's got a nice little sanding disc in it, which is also 1 inch in radius, made for a perfect clean groove all the way around. And more sanding. Took it over to the router table, round off the edge. And more sanding. This time we use 220. Then I go back by hand and I check every profile just to make sure that I was complete and it's good all the way around. Then a little booze mystery oil, let it soak in, put it on pretty plentiful, and this is brand new or fresh walnut and white oak and it just soaked it in. You usually let this sit overnight, but it was so dry it just sucked it right in. So throughout the life of a cutting board, you'll do this a bunch of times and oil it over and over. And then once the oil is sucked in, you put the butcher block cream on it. That's got some beeswax in it and that helps seal it. If there's any excess, you go ahead and wipe that off as well.
Here it is all finished. Alternating white oak and walnut checkerboard pattern with a white oak band here and a walnut band all the way around. You notice that this top level here is higher than this level, and then I have the 1-inch groove all the way around to just trap all the fluids and juices when you actually cut on it. On the back side, the white oak and walnut comes all the way through, but it was skinned here with white oak, and this side can be used as a serving tray. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you get a chance, subscribe, like, and leave some comments for us down below. Remember, I'm still asking, do you prefer end grain or long grain? Leave that in the comments as well. See you on the next video.